Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Amber Reads Romance. I am here with another Worth the Hype vlog. I think that's what I'm doing here because I have had this duet on my TBR, I think for like the last 2 years. I put it on my goal for this year, so I am just now getting to it in end of October here, but I'm getting to it. And so this is the Torment, Duet, whatever you want to call it. It's a whole series, but the part 1 and part 2, it's the duet on this situation. I don't even know what to call it. But I have wanted to read this forever, but I know it's a big mind F and it's wrecked people emotionally. I've seen a lot of hype, a lot of drama around it. And so I figured I would vlog this because I have no idea where it's going to take me, what I'm going to be thinking, and how this is going to go. So we'll see. We'll see where this vlog takes me. I don't know, because this romance is supposed to be pretty toxic and crazy and dark. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So let's go ahead and dive into this vlog. Let's get started because I already started listening to it yesterday and I'm about 50% through on my first check-in. So I don't know how these check-ins are going to go, but that's where I'm starting. All right, let's get started. Okay, guys, so I just want to kind of give my thoughts and what I'm feeling so far in the first 50% of Torment Part 1. I did decide to do longer percentage before I do my usual check-ins. Usually I'll do like a 30%, 60, and then when I finish the book. But I just decided to keep going when I was listening to it yesterday. And I also thought, you know, I don't know how much ranting or what thoughts I'm going to end up having about this duet. So let's just check in at 50. But anyways, I actually got this on audiobook too because it is available for read and listen for free with Kindle Unlimited, at least right now. And whoa, like I don't even know what the hell is going on with this book. So we open up with our heroine, Mina, I think it is. Yeah, Mina. And she actually, there's a current timeline and then you get flashbacks throughout of her childhood. So I think the first flashback goes back to when she's like 7 years old. So, yeah. So I think I'm like, how old is she here? I can't even remember. I think she might be 16 right now. I'm totally like spacing. But anyways, we open up to her waking up in the hospital. She's badly beaten. She was attacked. And, you know, her stepbrother is like by her bedside. And then we start to get the flashbacks to learn how she became part of this family because it was her and her mom. Her dad had died from cancer. She had a really good, loving, stable father. And her mom ends up falling in love with I can't remember which, I don't think he's the president of the MC, but he is part of this MC club. And I don't think her mom really realized it was an MC club when she fell for him because the first time she has her daughter meet him and everything, you know, he like, I'm sorry, it's the second time they're going to go to some celebration. I can't remember what it was. Sorry, I'm really bad. I didn't do a check-in right after I read it, so I'm sorry. But she's going to meet the stepbrother. So who's going to be the stepbrother, which is this guy's son, and that is Shay. Is it Shay? I think it's Shay. Sorry, guys. I probably should have paid. Yes, Shay. Okay. So that's this guy's son, and he's like warning her, I'm just letting you know he's not going to be the nicest. He's, you know, he's difficult. And then she shows up and she like, they're at this like picnic and all this stuff going on. And the mom seems really uncomfortable with some of the stuff she's seeing. And then Shay is in a all-out brawl with like multiple guys and they're punching each other, beating the shit out of each other. And so she's like furious. She's like getting her daughter to take her, and the boyfriend's like, where do you think you're going? She's like, I don't want my daughter around this violence. And he's like, it'll be fine. They'll fight it out. So it's kind of obvious she had no idea what she was involved with. And the daughter is immediately like kind of drawn to Shay. And he is a bit older than her. And I think he's in his like teens. At this point, she was like 7 or something. So he's definitely older than her. And she ends up kind of being watched by him on the swings and stuff because her mom gets into a huge fight with his dad and they kind of drive off together. So she immediately really likes him and wants to bond with him. And so we keep getting these kind of flashbacks of her throughout the years because her mom does end up marrying him and they have a very toxic, kind of abusive relationship. It's not great. She doesn't really back up him being this MC guy. She doesn't like Shay, the mother, and she just doesn't want that around her child. There's even one flashback where she tries to pack up her daughter in the middle of the night and flee, and they chase her down and she won't pull over, and it leads to her like flipping the car and getting in an accident. And so the father was like super pissed. So it's like he's like really invested in keeping this girl, Mina, which is kind of like weird already. I'm getting weird. I was getting weird vibes with that. But he kind of forces this mother to be his wife, and she ends up like starts drinking all the time because she's probably kind of depressed and doesn't like where they're at. And then throughout the years, we see a really not great type of situation where Shay is very manipulative and controlling, and he's also like very dependent on Mina, and he'll sneak into her bed every night to sleep with her. So he kind of uses her as like a security blanket because he has really bad nightmares, and he like struggles because he does some really shady dark shit for the club. And so he sleeps with her for years until they get caught in the bed together, and her mom is like losing it. His dad's screaming at him, and then he's not allowed to like sneak in bed with her anymore. There was a point where she met this other guy that was like when she was a little kid that she really liked, and he was this good looking like blonde guy, but he really was like a rival MC member and like hates Shay, and so he took her with him. And so Shay's like losing his mind, and he's like, I'll fucking kill you, you know, if you touch her. And he basically tells him like, you went after my men, you know, you better watch yourself type of thing. And then we get a flashback to her having a pen pal situation where she leaves notes in this area. We know she's still doing that now because when she gets home from the hospital where she had like this huge broken leg and fractures and she's just all beat. She gets home from the hospital and she immediately goes to this hidden area where like this guy will leave her letters and stuff. And so in the flashback, we find out that it's that guy that was like the rival MC member. And he was like really concerned about her being close to Shay. And he thinks he's a really bad guy. And he's like just really concerned with her safety. And so he's like, we could just write to each other and be friends and all that kind of stuff. So that was also kind of shady. It's like, why are these teenage guys, and then now they're adult men, wanting to bond with this like little girl, you know? It's kind of shady. So you get to start to have these really uncomfortable looks at what the situation is, where it's like Shay is like very controlling of her, and there's a point where he gets in bed with her now again as like her current timeline, and he was like trying to dance with her earlier in the night. And she was like, I don't want to, blah, blah, you know, and he gets like mad with her fighting back with him. And he decides to give her a spanking, but it's like a sexy spanking, and he's touching her and like getting her off almost, and then stops. And she's just so confused. So it's very much a grooming situation here. I mean, he's really grooming her. He's like manipulative. He controls her life. He doesn't want her involved with any men. And, you know, there's another point where he got in bed with her, was like trying to get her off again. So it is pretty weird so far. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's shady. I think it's going to be an effed up relationship. I have no idea where this is going to go, but that's the beginning part, at least. So that's the first 50% of the part 1. I will be reading part 2 in this video too. So we'll see where this takes us, but it's weird. It's definitely inappropriate, grooming, child abuse, crazy stuff. So we'll see. All right, guys, I will check back in with you once I finish this book, probably, depending on if I have a lot of things I need to check in on. But I'll see you on the next clip. Hey, guys, I am trying to do this check-in because I finished the part 1 late last night. Like, I couldn't stop listening to it, even though it was fucking crazy. So I finished it last night, and I just got home from work, so the light, like the sun is down and it's getting kind of dark. So I don't know how the lighting is going to look here, but I needed to do a quick check-in. Maybe not quick. Who knows? Because a lot fucking happens in the last 50% of this book. And maybe it wasn't best that I did 50% marks, but I just didn't want to make this a super long vlog considering I'm doing the 2 books. But I don't know how I feel about this book. Like, even after sitting with it all day, I have no idea how I want to rate this. Like, I might even hold my rating till I read the second part, because this is just disturbing. There's so many disturbing elements to this book. It's not a romance, at least not yet. I don't see how it could be a romance, because Shay is just such a fucked up character. He's so manipulative. He's grooming her. He's controlling. We like our possessive, controlling men in our dark romances, but his is like in such a toxic, evil, like horrible level that it's just not, it's not good. So let's see, where do I even want to start? There's so many things going on in the last half of this because we have so many flashbacks and then the current time, which can be kind of confusing when you're listening to the audiobook, because I'm kind of thinking, how old is she? Like, I'll have to go back to the beginning of the chapter again because I'll be listening to some crazy shit happening. And I'm like, wait, how old is she here that this is happening to her? But, all the flashbacks start from 7 to age 16, which I think she just turned 17 or something in the current timeline. So when we get to the 16-year-old stuff, we're getting to the current, almost to the current stuff of like how her and her mother got attacked. So in the beginning of the book, we did get, her with a huge cast. She had been almost like really badly beaten. And I don't think I brought it up. I don't remember in the last clip, but we do kind of figure out that her mother was killed in this attack. But they never explained what happened. So I figured, okay, which is what happened. All these flashbacks are leading to that reveal and what was happening there. But so on the flashbacks, we're seeing all Shay's disturbing behavior. There was at one point, I think when she was like 13, maybe. I may be wrong. It's hard to keep track of the ages in all these flashbacks. But when she was like 13, a guy actually approached her and wanted to walk her home and asked her out to like go on a little like date together. And they were holding hands. And Shay shows up on his bike, jumps off, and sorry, I think you might have heard my alert from my car. Jumps out and starts beating the ever-living shit out of this little kid. And she's like screaming, like, stop it, stop. Like, what are you doing? And he just beats him so badly just because this young kid was holding her hand. So she's like disgusted. She's like, I don't want anything to do with you. You disgust me. Like, how could you do that to him? And he literally loses his mind. He's like, you can't leave me. You can't abandon me. Like, you can't, like, he is so dependent on her. She's like his security blanket. And like, he's so like really inappropriately attached to her. Yeah, so that was one scene that was really disturbing. And then like you have a current time, it's like her birthday, and he is taking her to the clubhouse, and he wants her to, like, he's kept pressuring her to drink, and she really didn't want to drink. She had no interest in it, but he kept, like, pushing her to drink. And so she gets kind of drunk, and he takes her home, and he basically manipulates her. Oh my God. Sorry, it keeps beeping for my Discord alerts. Okay, he basically is like manipulating her to try and get to go down on her and kiss her, and the things that he says, he like guilt trips her, like, oh, do you want me to lose it? Like, that type of things is just so fucked up. Like, it's just, and so like he goes down on her while she's drunk and not really fully herself, and you know, she feels really bad about it the next day. And then we also have flashbacks of her building that relationship. I think it's Keenan. I can't remember his name, but he's like that guy that was in the Rival MC. And they've been really building this beautiful friendship for her. But I found that creepy too, because that guy was older than her too. And I'm like, why are you befriending a young girl? It's just kind of shady all the way around. I don't know if that's just to show us a sweet thing relationship for her, because her relationship with Shay is just bad. And so you start to see where she wants to get away from the MC. She happened to catch them. She went to like bring them cookies, and she ended up walking in and seeing like her stepdad like screwing some one of the club whores type of thing, and like Shay was screwing a girl, and she was just really disgusted. And so her eyes, like, that's what's interesting about this, is it's told all in her POV, so you get to see all the stuff come from like an innocent point of view, like a child's point of view. And so it makes it even more disturbing to see, her childlike innocence of looking up to her stepbrother, looking up to her stepfather, and then seeing what they really, oops. Okay, sorry, my car turned off and all my lights in my car went off, because it is actually getting dark here, but I just wanted to do this check-in here real quick. So anyways, seeing it from her childhood perspective is very interesting, and I think it was a smart way for the author to show how a child could be manipulated and groomed. And then as she's like kind of waking up and trying to fight this situation, it's just, she's totally out of her depth with who she's dealing with, because it's not just Shay that manipulates her, it's also the father. And, now she's growing up and realizing they're pretty bad guys. And her mom had been trapped into this relationship that she tried to get out of multiple times. So I actually felt really bad for the mom, because she becomes a pretty bad alcoholic when she was not like that at all previously. She had a good marriage with her first husband, and now she's in this abusive, just toxic relationship, and she doesn't want to be in it, but she's kind of forced, like they won't let her leave. And so, it's pretty sad, because she doesn't really have a way out until she realizes she had become a ballet dancer and she was doing really good. And so she realized, I could do ballet, get it, go to New York or go over wherever to try to do that for my career. And Shay is having none of it. As you're seeing these flashbacks, also, Keenan, or whatever his name is actually with her all the time, promoting her, pushing her to follow her dreams and to kind of get away from Shay. And so when she makes it known, this is what she's going to do. She's going to go do ballet and move away. Shay is like losing his fucking mind. Like, there's so many instances. I'm not going to go into all of it because I'll be out here forever, but there's so many instances of his losing his mind. And then his father would like come to her to bring him back down and calm him down. And so it's just fucked up. So as we're getting hints to like him not wanting her to leave, I started to feel like this attack on her and her mom was a little convenient. And I think he was responsible. And I'll get into that when I get to that scene. But I started to feel, when she was trying to get away with her ballet, that he must have had something to do with it. I just had this bad feeling about Shay. Okay, sorry. So, yeah, I'm all over the place with this vlog, but it's like, this was such a mind fuck. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about it last night and being disturbed by it as I was like trying to go to sleep at 12:30 at night. I was so disturbed by this book. And then we have a flashback to when she's like 16, and I think the other guy, I don't even remember if his name's Keenan. I'm sorry if I'm saying the wrong name. But he's like, I think 22 or older, whatever. Too old to be fucking around with a teenager. But they end up like going off together, and I think they were like on the beach, and they start like kissing, and he's just like so into her, and like they like kind of have a dry humping session, and she gets off. And so I'm like, ew, you know, like, is this supposed to be the sweet side? Because this is a 20-something-year-old fucking around with a 16-year-old that he has known since she was like 7 or 8 years old. That's weird. And so that made me icky. And then, you know, we have all the stuff going on with Shay. And, you know, now she's also talking about like, okay, well, I didn't get my ballet career because her whole leg was broken. It's totally damaged, so she can't do ballet anymore. And she's saying, well, I kind of want to go off to school, or I want to go travel. And the stepfather's like, no, that can't happen. You know, basically he doesn't want her to leave because he needs her there for Shay, to keep Shay under control. And Shay, I guess, is pretty out of control. He does brutal killings and all this stuff, and he kind of depends on her. So, like, at one point, they are, like, he's kind of, like, kissing her. Like, he forcibly kisses her, and he's like, I love you. I've always loved you. You're everything to me. You're never leaving me. You're mine. Nobody else gets you. And she was like, I'm sorry, but, like, I don't look at you like that. I look at you like my brother. And he keeps, like, forcing the issue, and he's, like, laying on her and kissing her. And it was just so disturbing. And then he was, and she kind of said, well, I don't see you and thinking of Keenan or whatever his name is. And he's like, who is it? You know, and he's freaking the hell out. So, yeah. And then we get the flashback to the night of the attack. She had her big show. Her mom didn't show up. She goes home to see her mom, and her mom was like wasted, and she wakes up and she's like, oh, when's the show? And she's like, it already happened. And she gets pissed, like, oh, that fucking asshole. And I'm like, I know that like the father might have drugged her, or somebody drugged her so that she wouldn't be there. And then Shay and them said they had somewhere to go, so it was just her and her mom. And these like 4 masked men are breaking into the house, so they get up to her room, and they're trying to like they called Shay and talked to the dad too, and I think they talked to the dad too. I'm pretty sure they did. And so like she is basically hiding her daughter in like the closet, gave her a knife, and was like, whatever you do, whatever you hear, do not come out here. And so it was a very sad moment of this mother that she's like, I really fucked things up by being with this man, you know? And look at the situation I brought my daughter into. And so she really sacrifices herself for her daughter. It's a really sad, touching moment because, you know, Shay's been manipulating her too to like hate her mom. Like, oh, your mom's never here for you. I'm only here for you. Your mom's a drunk. I'm only one that's here for you. He like hates her mom. There was a point when the mom was trying to like get him away from her and back her up on like getting away for ballet. And he starts like beating the mom, and the father had to stop him. So now there's these guys coming in, they break in, they grab the mom, and one guy like finds her and she's fighting back. And when she gets taken downstairs, she sees that her mom is dead. And not that she is just dead, okay? She had like, I think her eyes taken out and like her nose cut off, and she was just massacred. And there was a silent guy that was the one doing this. One of them wasn't speaking. And I'm like, that's got to be fucking Shay, right? I mean, I don't know how you could have that be Shay and him be redeemed in the second book, or maybe he's not meant to be redeemed. Maybe it's just a fucked up relationship. But, like, I think he butchered her mom. And then they actually take a crowbar and smash her leg repeatedly. So now she can't be a dancer. How convenient that his enemy that was kind of in the way of him doing what he wanted with her daughter is taken out. And you make it so she can't be a ballerina and take away her freedom from you. And that's where we end it. So, yeah. So I don't even know what I want to rate this because it is so fucked up. But it's making me think, it's making me like stressed out and anxious and, just on my mind. So that's a good author that's able to do that. So I think I'm going to hold my review until I read the second one to see where it takes me. Because I don't even know what to rate this. I was thinking 4 stars because it had me hooked. I was definitely on the edge of my seat. It's like a psychological thriller, fucked up, disturbing, dark kind of shit. But it's not a romance, like I don't want this girl to end up with any of these guys. I want her to get the fuck out of there. So anyways, it's getting dark out here and I think my car is about to turn off again. So I am going to check back in with you once I start reading some of part 2. All right, guys, I will see you on the next clip. Hey guys, so I am back with Torment, but it's part 2 now. I was very disturbed by the first one. I had to give myself a couple days break. It's just, but I can't stop thinking about it. So I think it's doing its job of being a very disturbing and devastating book and making you think about these type of things. But Torment Part 2, I'm already 30% through. I just started this morning and it is taking it to another level. It's just continuing to get more disturbing and darker. So in this beginning of this, we have Mina literally like running through the woods outside their house trying to get away from Shay. Like that's where it picks up because she totally effed up. She had was texting Keenan to try and let him know about this like ultimatum basically that Shay had given her, where it's like she needs to be his and do whatever he wants or he'll kill people or he'll hurt people. And it's such a manipulative, fucked up thing that Shay is doing. And so she really needed to talk to somebody about it. So she had texted him and he never responded. So she had actually turned, because she has a separate burner phone for her and Keenan's talks, and she has a box of letters and that phone under like the board underneath her bed. And so she had left the ringer on, like the sound on, to try and like wait for his response, and he never responded, and she forgot to turn that alert off. So when Shay is in bed with her, like at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he hears this beeping, it's like repeated text messages coming in from Keenan because he's probably freaking out once he saw her message. And Shay literally loses his mind. He's like, I know that, and the narrator does such a good job in this too, because she'll use a tone of like him being really calm and like this creepy calm voice that she knows Shay's about to lose it. And he's like, I think that's a phone, maybe with this guy that you supposedly, was with, because she did kind of let that out last time when she's like, I don't love you like I do. And then she stopped herself and he knew she was like into somebody. And so he continues to tear apart the room. He's getting a knife out, tearing apart her bedding. He's like being really rough with her, like telling her like, tell me where it is. And so his father comes up to stop this. And they get into a huge fight. And so she takes the opportunity to get that box out and run for it. And so she's running. He can't find her. And she's kind of like hiding. And she calls Keenan, because he had texted her back, like, you need to get out of there. He's a psychopath. Like, you can't be doing this for him. And he's like, I'm on my way. I got to get you out of there. And she knows if Shay finds out about him, or if he shows up, he will be dead. And so she basically has this emotional goodbye where she's like, we can't do this anymore. Like, your life is in danger because of this. And, you know, Keenan's like devastated and like begging her to like let him come get her. And so she has to bury that box in the middle of the woods. And she has to go back to Shay, and he's like waiting for her. He's all like beaten and bloody from him and his dad fighting, and he just like calmly like tells her, come on over. And he takes her to the shower, and because she's all muddy and fucked up, you know, and they take a shower together. And he's gone down on her a few times and made her touch him through like his pants, but like she'd never seen him naked, so she was kind of nervous. But basically he knows, because she's like, I got rid of the phone. I'll never talk to them again. It's over. You know, I'm yours, blah, blah, blah. She's like trying to bring down the monster. And he knows that she'll do whatever he wants now to protect this guy. So he basically is done waiting. And he gets her out of the shower, and he makes her like go down on him for a little bit. And then he's like, I'm fucking you. Like, I'm done waiting. And so, you know, she doesn't want it. She doesn't want to have sex with him. So it is an assault. It's non-con for sure. But he basically has sex with her, and she does get off twice in it. And so she has that like shame for getting pleasure out of it when she doesn't want to be with him like this, and that she just had to stop talking to Keenan. And so it's just very complicated emotions that she's going through during this time. And like then when she goes back to school, like he literally comes into the school when she's at her locker and makes a scene in front of everybody and is like really close to her. We're almost like touching her intimately. And then he's pissed off about what she's wearing. So now it's like he wants to control what she wears too. And she's just like humiliated. All her friends are like accusing her of fucking her brother and being like sick. And like they're all like ditched her. So she's getting bullied at school from it. And then she ends up leaving school. She had taken off her jacket because it was hot. And he had people taking pictures of her and reporting things to him throughout the day. So it's like, this guy is literally controlling every facet of her life. Then she decides that she's going to run away. And she runs away in the middle of the night, but the train station didn't have like, or train or bus station, I can't remember. I think it was a bus station, didn't have any things going through the night. She meets this homeless man, and he's kind of talking to her. And then the MC shows up, and they basically kill this guy. And she's like, that's your fault. You did this. Like, so now it's like anytime she tries to get freedom, somebody's gonna die, or somebody's gonna get hurt, somebody innocent like is gonna get attacked. So she like hates him, but like has to be with him. And you know, they have crazy like feisty sex after this. And you know, she's just like hates him, but like knows she has to be with him. And so then another guy at school actually tries to ask her out and was like trying to hold her hand. And she's like, don't touch me, you know, like, and he's like, what's your problem? And of course, Shay shows up and is like ready to fucking kill this guy. The guy that he attacked originally, like when she was like 13 for just holding her hand, like literally had to get reconstructive surgery on his face because he hurt him so bad. So she doesn't want this guy to get like killed or hurt. So she has to like placate and tell Shay how he's the only one for her, and she just wants him to take him home with her. And he's also getting like a trailer for them to live like away from his father too. So it's just fucked up. So yeah, it's not a good situation. I don't even understand what this duet is, because it is not a romance. It's just devastating grooming and manipulation and abuse and assault. And it's just, I don't even know what I'm reading, you guys. I don't even know. I feel like upset to my stomach, like listening to it while I'm at work. It's just very disturbing. So anyways, that's my first check-in so far. And I will check back in with you guys once I get a little bit further. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, but it ain't good. I can tell you that. All right. See you guys on the next clip. Hey guys, I am finally back a few days later. Maybe more than a few days later, after finishing Torment Part 2. I was so mad at this book and disturbed, like I've said a million times probably in this video. I had to sit with it for a while, and I honestly just didn't even want to talk about it because it's so fucked up. And I was pissed with the way this book went. And yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts. So I actually just finished it. I don't even know how far I got in the first clip, but I just kept going with it because I just wanted to get it done. I just wanted to finish this book and get it behind me and see what the fuck happened, because there was no way. There's no way you can redeem Shay's character in any way in this book to me. There just wasn't. And honestly, it was kind of dragging a little bit for most of the middle of the book. It was just constant, kind of like repetitive for me, where I didn't really have a ton to touch base on. So I did write notes. I usually don't. I'm really bad at writing notes as I vlog or anything. I usually don't, but there was so much like that I just I had to touch on in this, so I was actually writing as I worked. You know, they have their fucked up relationship. She's slowly basically getting mind fucked and warped into like, now it's like making excuses of like, oh, well, this is just Shay and he loves me, and kind of excusing his behavior, but at the same time being overly controlled. There's a point where she won't wear his property of Manic, which Manic is his MC name and perfect name for him. And she won't wear it because she's like, you know, I don't like this MC stuff. I don't want to be your property. But she is basically his property. Let's be real. And so he doesn't like that. So then what does he do? He forcibly has her get like a property of him tattoo on her. And so, I mean, he takes her kicking and screaming and like, do you want to make this difficult on yourself? Because you're getting this no matter what. And so he forcibly basically brands her as like property of Manic. She's getting in fights at school because she's getting bullied and stuff. And it's just a lot of that toxic type of thing. Then we learn that Shay has actually become involved with a mobster named Elias. Now, this felt like it was just thrown in there, and then to add like to this danger element near the end that just kind of came out of nowhere, and I didn't really think it was established well in the book at all. Like, it was just kind of thrown in. And she hasn't, like, Keenan's basically absent through most of this book because she had to cut off contact with him and all that kind of stuff. But he does end up trying to reach her multiple times, but she's too scared, and also feels like she's betraying Shay because she's been groomed so well that she doesn't want to reach out to him and betray Shay. So that's kind of like this, her inner monologue is just disturbing, and like, it's just kind of repetitive with this. And she kind of, like, it's so annoying. She has a conversation where Keenan admits like he befriended her because she was Shay's sister and all that stuff. And I was like, how are you surprised? Why else did you think this like older teen befriended you? Like, she's so stupid sometimes. Like, but I hate to say she's stupid because she's such a victim in this, and the way she was groomed from a young childhood, you don't want to blame her, but you're like, couldn't you see some of this coming? But anyways, but obviously maybe she couldn't see it coming because they were both grooming her from a young age. I mean, Shay from age 7, and I think Keenan from like age 9. So they're both creeps. So this whole Keenan side romance thing was not a romance to me either. He also was creepy, like, and grooming of a child. So even though he had better, like, he wanted the best for her, it still was weird. It was still weird. So let's see here. Oh, yeah. Um, I think in that scene too, she admits that she's like in love with Shay. So she went from like hating him to now being mind warped to being like, I love Shay and I'll do what I can to protect him. Then we have like a Cody character going out of control. There was just all this weird side plot stuff happening that like didn't make sense to me and just felt like it was kind of thrown in there for suspense. So I'm just going to skip over that. I'm not going to give you every little detail. But we kind of get to that suspense element and like it being a danger to her because they could go after her to get after Shay. And yeah, so I thought that was dumb. But anyways, we finally have a conversation with James, the father, and he kind of admits he knew, you know, Shay was mentally unstable and had mental health issues, but he basically kind of used her to keep him under control, and he's like apologizing for that and everything. And then we finally get to Shay kind of admitting to what I knew from the previous book, which is that he was responsible for the attack on her. Those were like kind of the gangsters he was working with, and they weren't supposed to hurt her. But is that supposed to help for the fact that Shay killed her mom? And he didn't just kill her. He brutally killed her, mutilated her body, like took off her nose, took out her eyes, was like dragging her and like threw her like trash outside. It was fucking horrific. So tell me how anybody could care about Shay at this point in this book. When people were sobbing and like so emotional with what happens at the end, which I think is a total fucking cop-out. Total cop-out for Shay's character, but I'll get to it. Sorry. It's a rant, you guys. Like, how could you have empathy for this guy? He groomed a child. He controlled every facet of her life. He killed her mother, who was the only one trying to protect her from Shay, and that's why he hated her. You know, like, he did so many horrible things to her. How can you care about his character or think he's redeemable or care? I just don't get it where people are sobbing at the end of this, which I'm sorry. If you sobbed at the end of this and this made you emotional, I'm sorry. I didn't shed one fucking tear. I did not care about Shay because he was a monster. He groomed a child. He forcibly had sex with her. He like threatened other people's lives for her to stay with him. There was nothing good about Shay in this. Like zero. Okay. So then we get to the stupid ending where like supposedly her life's going to be in danger because of this Elias guy and all that. So Shay decides he has to let her go to save her, which goes against his whole character. And so does his final act when he kills himself. No. First off, this guy is a groomer, a psychopath, and only cares about himself and is so possessive and obsessed with her. He ain't going to let her go, okay? Everything that he's done, he isn't going to think about what's best for her. He's never thought about what's best for her, and he wouldn't kill himself. So it took everything that this author built this character as and just changed it. And it was her way of trying to redeem the hero of like, oh, he did all these awful things, but he took his life and let her go to save her. No, it didn't even feel in character for Shay at all. Like it shouldn't, like it just felt like a cop out because you couldn't redeem that character. And I didn't feel bad that he killed himself. Sorry, you're scum. You ruined this girl's life. So that really pissed me off. I literally was sitting at work listening to this and I was like, I literally wrote, what the fuck? And then she had a son. So the epilogue, all of a sudden we get Shay's perspective where he's dead and he's watching her with his son. So I think he like trapped her into a pregnancy too, because he told her he gave her a pregnancy shot because he wouldn't stop coming in her. And obviously he didn't. Probably he made that up. And she's with Keenan at the end and they're together. And I thought that was so stupid. I'm like, the better end would have been her getting free of the MC, free of Shay, free of Keenan, and of having finally a normal life, not with these men that groomed her from a child. From a child. I didn't understand this book. I did not understand this duet. I was very disturbed, very angry. I didn't think that the ending for Shay even made sense. I wasn't upset with him killing himself because I was so devastated he killed himself. All these people were like crying and like, oh, I love Shay. How could they do that to Shay? I'm like, how do you love this character? And I hate to say this because I know a lot of people really love this, but I did not like his character, and I didn't want him to have a happily ever after. So in one way, that is good that he killed himself, but it just felt out of character and like we were trying to redeem him when he was irredeemable. So that's where I had the issues. So I decided to give this a 3-star because listen to how invested I was in it. The author had good writing. She fucked with my mind. She put me through it, and it really did do what I think she means to do by disturbing you, making you think about this and all that. But I just couldn't get behind this character, and I didn't really love that ending for a character that, you know, I feel nothing for. So if you cried, this is not an attack against you. If you got emotionally invested in this story, this is not an attack against you. I just finally found something that is my red flag, my trigger. I can't read grooming. I just can't. I've read so many age gaps. I've read really big age gaps, really disturbing stuff, but it's not from somebody training and grooming a little girl since she was 7 to be theirs and controlling every facet of their life and being manipulative and threatening people unless she stays with them. Like that is just, I found my new level of what I can't handle. So I learned something about myself here. But I mean, this author, really good writing, very intense, very, you know, so I didn't want to totally give it a super low rating when I think she did exactly what she was trying to do with this duet. I just don't think it should be marketed as a dark romance because there's not one romance in this duet. There's no romance in this. It's just sickness. So anyways, I ranted for 12 minutes already here, so I'm going to cut this off and end this vlog. I am so sorry to any of you that love this. I know a lot of people really love this duet, and it's one of the ones that like fucked them up and mine fucked them. I get that. It did the same to me. I just couldn't support I can't even call him a hero, the main character, the male character in this book. So that's why it was a no for me. But if you loved it, respect you. This isn't against you. This is just something I learned. I'm not going to be able to handle this type of romance. Like psychological thriller. I don't even know what you classify this under. But anyways, that's enough. That's a wrap on this. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. I appreciate you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Like the video. Let me know in a nice way what you thought about this book. Again, I'm not attacking your feelings, but you know, I'd be interested. I was dying to talk to people about it. So obviously it got me invested because I really wanted to rant about this with people. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on the next vlog.